Hello, welcome to another edition of Chopped Greens, Home Depot version, because we're at my house now. Welcome to my house.
No,
Not too much.
Bad.
I am sitting alongside the one and only
Luke, right?
Hello, everybody, and also guest host today, Parmesan the dog.
What's up, Parmesan?
So if he gives you his barking opinion on something, just forgive us. We are again at the home edition. I think he's all right. He's wearing the Broncos jersey. It seems to comfort him as most should, as it would.
That's fair.
He's at home, as were the Broncos this week, which is a perfect lay-in to the Cowboys-Broncos game. Luke, did you see this coming?
Yeah, actually, I 100% saw it coming.
Explain.
Everyone, every year, including the year the Broncos went to the Super Bowl, would continually doubt how good the Broncos would be because of quarterback play. When they saw Peyton Manning was too old to play anymore. When we had we won a Super Bowl with Brock Osweiler and Peyton Manning. Why would anybody... Peyton Manning, who was 93 years old and had more injuries than someone who gets injured... Derrick Rose.
Now, correct me. Was that was the year after he ran in for a boot touchdown, right?
Yes, it was the year after that.
Just making sure. That was the last Cowboys game we saw.
It went all downhill from there.
Right, that was the last vintage Peyton Manning game we saw, and he actually ran it in. Even the cameraman was like, "Okay, wait a minute,
Peyton still
got it."
And it's just one of those things like their defense is still elite. People seem to forget that. Oh, DeMarcus Ware retired. They won't be able to get to the pass to the quarterback as much with their pass rush. We had literally like 3 young studs just waiting to replace DeMarcus Ware. So I'm not surprised in the slightest that defense was able to dominate Dallas's offense. And I'm not surprised that Denver's offense was able to take advantage of a bad Dallas defense.
I will now officially be worried about the Dallas Cowboys. Before, I was not. And I knew last year was a bit of an over dramatization of what the Cowboys actually were. I didn't think that they were that good. What were they? 14-2 was the final
I believe
score?
so.
I didn't think they were that good. I thought that they were good, and any team that can run the ball effectively that's a great defense. That's a great defense to have your offense mask your defense and limit the amount of snaps that your defense has to play. It keeps them fresh, keeps the opposing offense out of sync, out of rhythm. It really is a brilliant play on the part of the Cowboys. However, I think successfully, this is the first time we've ever seen the Cowboys at a loss without the run game. And I hate to say, I hesitate to say that we've seen an exposed Dak Prescott because...
But we did.
So are you willing to go out in that ring of fire?
I'll go out that deep.
Because what I was about to say is that he injured himself earlier, and I'm not to make excuses, but to be honest with you, I was actually afraid of that from the defense of Denver. I kept thinking to myself, okay, we've won, we've secured this. I'm so scared that Aqib Talib's gonna like get a cleat in the ankle, and then we're gonna lose Aqib Talib or Bradley Roby or Chris Harris Jr. because we actually have the best, and it's been questioned at times, but we still right now have the best cornerback tandem trio even in the league, bar none.
It's not even close.
We have some close 2 pieces, and maybe some corners are better than any one of ours. But as a trio, as a 3-man lockdown corner defense, our secondary is incredibly stout as far as Denver, and I did say the word "our," but the point is...
I slipped up with that.
Yes, I know. We're supposed to be unbiased here, but the fandom does get in the way. When we see Zeke, this is the first time we've ever seen Zeke go this low in his entire career outside of maybe high school. This is the worst we've ever seen Zeke.
Even high school, I doubt he ever had a game this bad. This is probably the worst game he has ever had playing football.
Which is an interesting one, because as good as the Denver Broncos defense is, I have not seen them effectively shut down the run as much as they did in this game, and that's what leads me to believe that the Cowboys, in a way, are completely one-dimensional. We forget that 2 years ago, there was a reason why they had that number 5 overall pick. it wasn't just because of Tony Romo. I feel like Tony Romo elevated that entire team. Ever since they got Dak and Zeke, though, it's been hard to see what one is without the other. I think today, even though Zeke was on the field, because they respected Zeke so much, they were able to go to man-to-man coverage a lot more, and therefore they were unable to create separation. They were unable to create passing lanes for Dak to successfully do his usual dink and dak and dunk thing, where he just completes whatever the defense is giving him. But this week, Denver didn't give them anything. It leads me to believe and question, going down the line, how future defenses in general are going to play the Cowboys from here on out. But more so, when we see the elite defenses of the NFL in this particular league, I mean, and maybe this is blasphemous, but I think even the Jaguars would have a chance against the Cowboys this year.
No, I completely agree.
Even as much, because that when you're playing, in that type of setting where strength on strength meets each other, where a great defense meets a great offense, if the Denver Broncos defense is able to nullify the Cowboys to that degree, the Jaguars aren't too far behind from there. They don't have three corners like we do, and they don't have that experience in chemistry. It's still all coming together and gelling together. However, they do have a great 1-2 tandem of A.J. Bouye and who's their rookie? Jalen Ramsey.
Mm-hmm. And they have a strong front seven.
They do. It's hard because you have Von Miller, who plays a lot of outside linebacker. He's not always in that left end, right end. He switches around a lot, but he does play the outside linebacker, so it's hard to nail him down as a one piece. However, what this goes on to say is that the defenses of the world, the Baltimore Ravens, the Jaguars, the Cowboys, Seattle, just where the focal point of their team is the defense. I think that they have a better advantage against other teams that are offensively driven. I think that if the Cowboys face the Falcons, if they face the Packers, if they face even the Lions, I mean, we just go down the list of just offensively fronted teams, they'll have a better chance than defensive, because defensively they can be had on offense. Moving on, when we're talking about good defenses, I don't know if they're the top 10 even in the league. They're probably top 10, somewhere around there. But the Kansas City Chiefs have just, I think, for my taste, the best overall team, the most balanced team in the entire league. They're probably they're the B minus in every facet of their team, outside of maybe now free safety where Eric Berry was, and now they have a replacement level player. Outside of that, I'd go B plus. And this win over the Eagles, who was actually doing pretty well, and was overcoming a home field advantage that the Chiefs held. This was an ugly game in the first half, kind of opened up in the second half, especially with Travis Kelce flying. I think that this Chiefs team, everybody's sleeping on them, and I don't understand totally why. I don't always understand power rankings, Luke, but because it just, for me, it's so subjective. However, I don't understand how, after having so far the toughest, I mean, it's only 2 weeks, but having the toughest schedule thus far in the league and having the two best quality wins in the league, I don't understand how the Chiefs are not being held in higher regard.
I'll explain it to you, Philip.
I'll
explain it to you. Very, very impressive win they had week 1 against the Patriots. Very impressive. Andy Reid is arguably, outside of maybe Belichick, although maybe this proves it, Andy Reid is probably the best NFL head coach when it comes to preparing for a team with extended time. For example, a whole offseason.
Right.
I want to say, I think he went like 13 straight years, and to be honest, he might even still have the streak.
I remember this.
Of winning the game after his bye week, because he was just so excellent at preparing his team when he had extra time. So I'll give him bonus points, some brownie points for beating beating the Patriots, especially how they did, because they just dismantled them. And then
made them look silly.
Yes, and it was in Kansas City, correct?
No.
This one was in Philly.
Well,
Eagles.
Yes, it was in Kansas City.
Then you have the Eagles, and you can only beat them by a touchdown. And it's a very good Eagles team. But if you just dismantle New England like you did, and now you're at home, you should beat the Eagles by more. And I think what's happening is we're overreacting a little bit to how good they were week 1 still. And we're trying to see past some of the flaws of week 2. For example, 1, they lost Eric Berry, who is probably the best player they had on defense.
Arguably the best defensive player in the league.
I guess arguably.
I mean, it's arguable because I understand.
Definitely best safety.
Yes, bar none. The argument I would make is, yes, I understand the need for pass rushers. However, the fact that Eric Berry can be utilized in so many positions in that backfield as a cover man, and especially for the fact that he can nullify the effect of Gronk. That to me was just uber impressive. But I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
But now he's gone.
Yes.
He's gone for the rest of the year.
Yes.
And you look at this Chiefs team, and as the weeks progress, and as people get more film on them, I think and as Andy Reid has less and less time to prepare for how teams go, or how teams are, since he's not going to have, it's one of those things. It's easy to game plan for your first couple weeks, but once you get past that, you got to start game planning for how teams are this season, not how they were for last season. So you can have tons of tape on Patriots and Philly, but once you start hitting like week 3, week 4, you start to notice teams aren't doing their usual game plan. So it's harder to use last season's tape for it. And Andy Reid is just not going to be able to prepare his team as well as they were.
That's an interesting point by you, because I will. What even you neglected to say was that he had time to prepare for this game from the last one. He had what the pundits like to call the mini bye, where they were the first win of the season. They were the first game of the season. They had that mini bye from Thursday to Sunday, knowing who their opponent was, the Eagles. Now, granted, in that first particular week, from that Thursday to Sunday, that you don't necessarily know. That's how the Chiefs were able to implement a lot of new schemes, new gadgets, new toys on the Patriots, because they had never seen it. If the Patriots and Chiefs were to meet again in the playoffs, let's say,
very different, which they very well might.
Yes, they would not be a blowout at the very least. It might be close, and the Chiefs may still win, but they would not be able to get away with a lot of the. Belichick would be more prepared because they have a lot more tape. You're not able to implement a lot of things not unseen at that point. And that being said, if we're talking about, I think in order to, I realize it's hard to pinpoint this down. I think the lack of respect for the Eagles dictates the lack of respect for the Chiefs. After week 1, the Chiefs beating supposedly the best team in the league garnered a lot of respect. Barely, if we had flip-flopped the results, where the Chiefs barely beat by a touchdown, had barely beat the Patriots, and had demolished the Eagles, they would be a lot more respected than now that the flip had happened. But I think just depending on how your game plan changes and how your opponent changes each week, it's going to dictate a lot of what the result will be. If you're going to just run the ball the entire time, much like that, last week we saw USC Stanford, where they were just running the ball and running it down each other's throat, and the score was a lot closer than what those watching the actual game realized. It was a lot closer than what it really felt, because you could tell who was dominating the entire game, USC. I think that just the way that this particular game played out, it was while both teams were playing pretty dang well, I would say that the result belies what a great job the entire Chiefs team did. My underrated team thus far this season.
Also, though, Alex Smith isn't this good. He's going to level out. He's not this good.
We'll see what he does when he plays teams such as the Broncos, teams with actual secondaries, with better than average secondaries rather than the under average secondary of the Eagles and then the pretty average secondary of the Patriots. So we'll see how to better judge them and what the litmus test is after those. Which side of the coin do you want to go on this particular last game? We've got Giants and Lions, and the story is 2-0 or 0-2. 0-2, of course, the story is only 9% historically in the NFL. 9% of the teams. I know.
Don't finish the stat.
Only 9% of the teams that go 0-2 make the playoffs.
Let me before we get into the game, let me just real quick.
He's getting on the soapbox, ladies and gentlemen. Here.
When every single season starts, every single season, the first 3 or 4 weeks after every single team wins or loses, every single time they have to bring out this percentage of this team and this percentage of this record and this percentage, and it's the dumbest thing they do. There is no reason to continually put out the percentage of teams that are 0-2 to make the playoffs are. And you know why, Philip?
Why is that?
Because you have 2 working eyes for most people who can just watch the games. Because yes, the Giants being 0-2 is a lot different than, say, the Niners being 0-2. You know the Niners are going to stay bad. You know the Niners aren't making the playoffs. But you also know the Giants have a shot. I believe the last time they won a Super Bowl, they started 0-2. If I'm remembering my fun facts right.
Fun fact.
Yes, the fun fact. Yes, that the Giants won the last Super Bowl when they went 0-2. Because that's what the Giants do. They start off bad, they get hot, they make the wild card, and then they beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl on an amazing catch. That's how this script is going to play out. But yeah, I just absolutely hate when people use those percentages this early in the season because they're ridiculous and they're completely worthless. But I think the bigger story in this is not the Giants being 0-2. Mm-hmm. I think the bigger story in this is the Lions being 2-0. Because the Lions came into this season with everyone thinking, there's no way they're going to win that division. Nobody outside of Detroit was picking Detroit to win that division. People all assumed it'd be Packers. Maybe the Vikings would upset them.
Maybe.
But that was it. And I personally like the Lions. I don't necessarily would bet on them to win the division.
I think we're going to have to go back in the vault to check out exactly what the comments were for the Lions pre-regular season for Luke, but I don't think that they were that favorable.
They weren't that favorable, but my opinion's changed after seeing them, because I was worried more about their defense. And while, yes, that Giants O-line is horrible.
Horrific.
I do, now that I've seen those pieces after a couple weeks, I have more faith in them. Now, again, I don't think they're going to win the division. I wouldn't bet money on that. But I do think that they can go maybe 10-6 and make the playoffs. Maybe 9-7, depending upon how bad the rest of the NFC is. So I love that storyline, or the storyline of just how bad the Giants' offense is. One of the two.
Yeah, well, let me address your points in order. Stats, that particular stat that you're having a problem with is in fact overinflated. But the fact remains that just because you start 0-2, I think that it's such a mental hurdle that you're putting yourself at such a mental deficit that even if it's 50% above inflated due to the fact that teams like the Browns last year, who started out 0-2, were different than the Chargers starting out 0-2 last year. Or I forget who else, but let's just put some competitive team that was 0-2 last year. There's differences in every 0-2, yes. But even if you take out 50%, so now we're at a higher rate of 41%, who don't make the playoffs but had a chance within that small sample size of that 100% pie, right? 50% were never going to make the playoffs, so you just take that out. So 41% of the teams that had a shot that started out 0-2 still failed to make the playoffs. I think that's absolutely significant. And I agree with you. Sometimes there are just ridiculous stats that they throw out for stats' sake, such as I think that last year there was something about they just throw out these random stats that mean absolutely have no historical relevance, and they have no bearing on what this is, where they said last time the Chiefs met the Bengals in the divisional rivalry in 1927, the Bengals had a deficiency in their linebacking core that the Chiefs pounced on for 100 yards or something. Like, it just bears no meaning towards this game. And I agree with you on some of those stats, but this one I think actually holds some bearing.
But see, here's the thing. Is it them starting 0-2, or is it the fact that there's only 16 games in a season, and if you lose 2 games in a row at any point, it's going to drastically lower your chances?
Depends on the point. If the Cowboys had lost 2 games at the end of the season last year, which they lost 1, but had they lost 2, it wouldn't have affected them drastically. They still would have made the playoffs, and they might have lost home field advantage. I don't think they would have lost home field advantage, but
yeah, but like if you look at any wild card team, and you take 2 of their losses and put them together in a row, it's gonna hurt your chances. Any team that's on that borderline of wild card, you get two losses in a row, and it's instantly gonna drastically lower your chances.
Fair enough. Just as my 2 cents. Like you, I actually, when Matthew Stafford got that raise, I didn't necessarily have a problem with it. You kind of said that you did.
Yeah.
Not kind of, you did.
Yeah.
However, my problem with the Lions has never been their offense, and even in this particular game, the Giants game, although his stat line didn't look pretty, if you were watching that game, he was almost I want to say like the Udonis Haslem of the Heat back when they had the big 3, where it's just you kind of get those like nasty plays where you're doing the right things but it doesn't necessarily show up on the stat line, kind of like that who was the Shane Battier role later on. I'm just that kind of thing where it didn't really particularly show in his stat line, but the way that he was orchestrating,
he was valuable.
He was detecting where the rush was, and I don't think that Giants defense was awful. I mean, that's the thing is that within these first 2 losses that they've had, it's incredible to see how that Giants defense is actually still keeping them in games, and much to the effect of the Rams last year, where those first 4 games they had a couple wins and a couple losses, but their defense till about the second half of the season didn't give out on them, and it was keeping them in close, low-scoring games. That Giants defense is actually keeping them in games, and I'm just wondering how long that effort's going to stand for them to figure out supposedly an offensive team that has under 20 points now, I think, for what? 10 consecutive games now?
They have 1 touchdown all year.
Yeah.
1 offensive touchdown all year.
That's 1 more than the Bengals.
Oh, my God. Bengals are just bad, though.
Yeah.
They're just so bad.
Yeah. I completely agree.
And here's the thing. Like, I don't know how the Bengals are so bad. I really I totally don't understand. And with that running game with AJ Green, Andy Dalton's not a bad quarterback. Oh, I guess maybe he is now, but he was never a bad quarterback. He was just Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton.
It used to be the
Andy Dalton
last year, the Andy Dalton line. Now it's probably moved to.
Now it's like the Trevor Siemian line.
Yeah. All right, so we finally and officially put week 2 in the books. Moving on, here we go to week 3.
Woo!
Yes, we got a lot of interesting games, and actually, when we were in a little bit of an office pool with Ruby's side of the workforce, and we're picking games and winners. I found myself, and I realizing it, I was scared, but I was picking a lot of away teams, and that's kind of my biggest takeaway overall for this particular week in the NFL schedule. But let's start out, Luke. Most interesting game of the week. Who do you think is going to have the most interesting game of the week this week?
Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
Because I don't think in a million years you would have guessed this.
All right.
Ravens Jaguars. That's what I'm going with most.
I'm not going to hate you for that one. It's a very defensive game.
It's one of those games where I don't really know what I have in either team yet. Is Jaguars going to be the team that's defense is good enough to keep them in games and they're going to just rely on Leonard Fournette to carry the ball 30 times a game and just hope Blake Bortles doesn't screw them over? Or are they going to be the team that Blake Bortles screws over every week and they never win?
With some garbage stats at the end.
Yeah. Also, what they should do, put Chad Henne in the first 3 quarters and then put Blake Bortles in.
Quarterback by committee.
Once you get into that 4th quarter...
Blake Bortles is that 4th quarter running back that they need.
Yeah.
You know like how they have a 3rd down running back where his specific role is to just churn out that 2 yards? He can get you those garbage yards, and
And then I don't know what the Ravens are either, because they haven't really played any great teams. Played the Bengals, and then I forgot who they played. Bengals and Browns, and they beat both of them. So yeah, they're 2-0, but they're kind of like a fake 2-0.
But I don't know. That defense is fantastic.
No, I like both of them. That's the thing. That's why to me this is so interesting. Is it gives me a chance to give somebody more of a win.
This could be this week's Carolina Bills week, where it's 9-3, ugly win.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, somebody gets knocked out. LaShawn McCoy, you think is going to have a monster game, just does nothing. But most interesting game of the week. My most interesting game of the week, speaking of the Panthers, is Panthers Saints. Now I realize that on paper it's a lopsided matchup, but it's again that strength on strength matchup, and I want to see if. Finally, against a bad defense, a legitimized bad defense, if Cam Newton can shake off that rust and actually get something going on offense, because for me, he's looked like not even average, but below average, like the bottom tier of that quarterback ranking. He's just not looked impressive at all. He hasn't been running for anything. He has his lack of efficiency in both throwing the ball and being that threat as a runner has really affected their run game as a whole, because even Christian McCaffrey and Mike Tolbert cannot get anything going.
I think Cam Newton is starting to realize that he's not skilled enough as a passer yet to be able to only be a pocket passer, but he's too injury prone, and I think his shoulder's still bothering him to where he's not comfortable running the ball right now.
I mean, he's essentially on that Andrew Luck timetable, just playing through it, where he didn't even throw out this entire offseason, right?
No, he didn't play in a preseason. I don't think. I know. I definitely said he shouldn't. I know he didn't play in like the first couple preseason games at all.
Right.
Maybe he got a few, like a series in towards the end, but I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah. So that to me is to just see which weakness of either team shows up. Is this going to be the week that the defense of the Saints says, come on, guys, this is the Panthers offense who has not done anything the first 2 weeks of the season. Let's stop them, a division rival, get a division win, and actually be somewhat interesting this year.
All the Panthers have done this year, though, is win.
All they do is win, no matter what. All right, let's flip to the other side of the coin. Least interesting game of the week goes to, drum roll please, Luke.
Browns Colts. I think it's pretty obvious.
Way to chalk it up.
I went with a nice non-chalk for most interesting. I mean, it's just a case of the Colts are so bad.
You know what? The lone interesting thing in this whole game actually though is to see who wins. It's so stupid, but it is a battle for supremacy in who is the ultimate loser. This is like the ultimate loser Colts edition, where can they even beat the Browns, who are the historically bad team, or can the competitive Browns, who have been in the last 2 games that they've been in, can they actually take that competitiveness and beat a horrifically bad Colts team without Andrew Luck?
I would take Browns in this game. If I'm being perfectly honest.
I know.
I'm taking Browns.
I am too. I don't feel good about it, but I'm taking it.
Yeah, it's just
I don't feel good going up against the beef brisket. I mean,
don't ever say that ever again.
Yes, he is so good. And he was beating the Arizona Cardinals until a very weird, odd chain of events happened against the Cardinals last week. However, I'm going to go against the mold. Least interesting game of the week coming up to you right on primetime Thursday night. Rams 49ers. I could give a rip about either team. Yes, I realize they're NFC West rivals, but the 49ers have just been anything but uninspiring, especially garnishing the interesting moves that they've had all year with just having a fantastic draft and getting Kyle Shanahan, who was supposed to be this offensive guru, with doing nothing so far except getting Carlos Hyde off for a couple games with meaningless numbers.
And hey, that's fine. Let's go, Carlos. Get him them carries.
Sounds like somebody's got him on their fantasy team.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just a huge Carlos Hyde fan.
Yes, if he can just hold it off for 1 week. If the Rams can actually show up for defense on this week, I'd really appreciate it.
Pound them.
Yeah. However, the Rams, on the flip side of the coin, couldn't even complete the darn comeback against Washington, which was one of the more infuriating games last week from a betting perspective. But
that was my one miss.
That was your one miss.
12-team parlay, 11 of 12.
But the Rams, they're probably the biggest facade team for me. They're the one team that probably deserves to be 0-2 that isn't 0-2 simply because they met the Colts in Week 1.
Whoa! Why are you bagging on that win? They won. It was a blowout.
Yeah, it was against Tolzien.
Cardinals couldn't blow them out.
Yeah, because they were playing against Beef Brisset.
I'm going to leave the podcast.
Okay. You go and get some barbecue and come back and we'll have a dandy good old time. But anyways, snoozer, Thursday games are bad all the time anyways.
All the time.
And as I'm looking at this now, there are 1,986 tickets available for $13. So even the public has spoken. The public has spoken.
$113.
Even the Colts-Browns game is going for $17. Come on, man.
Remember, $100 for parking.
Oh, my gosh. Isn't that the most ridiculous thing?
Welcome to L.A.
No, well, that's San Francisco. This one's in San Francisco.
No. I'm talking about... Oh, is it?
Yes.
It's not in L.A.?
No, it's in San Francisco. So it's just the big new stadium that's nobody's going to because of those personal seat licenses. But that's my least interesting game of the week. Okay, here we go. Most significant game of the week, meaning this is going to really change how the rest of the NFL season is going to go for one team or the other, depending on the outcome. Luke.
I'm going to go Dallas Cowboys, Arizona Cardinals.
Really?
Both teams, it's the Monday night matchup. Both teams are going into it 1-1. Both of them have a bad loss and a not great win.
First home game for the Cardinals.
Cardinals home opener. Cardinals have to prove that they can actually beat a team. They barely clinged on to a win against the Colts, and if I am remembering right, they pretty much got lucky that Vinatieri's 93 years old and missed like a field goal or two.
Oh my goodness. I didn't even talk about a quiet day. Do you realize how many yards Carson Palmer got?
Like 400, 300, 370?
600 yards.
He did not get 600 yards.
I'm not kidding. He went 46 out of 84.
No, I don't know if you're trying to mess with me or not.
Oh, is this for the season?
Yes, it's for the season.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
I was not trying to mess with you. I was reading the wrong stat line. Okay.
You are 600 yards. You had a quiet day.
You had a quiet day. The quietest day. It was the whisper in the mountain.
But anyways,
I'm so sorry. Monday night.
If you see how he has a 2 touchdown to 4 interception ratio, not good. They've got to turn this around literally right now. On the flip side, Cowboys just got blown out by Denver. And even at this point, beating the Giants doesn't really look that impressive at all.
Right.
Elliott just had the worst game of his entire possible football career. Yeah.
Ever since he was 3 and got blocked by his dad. That's about it.
Yeah, that's the worst he had.
The next day, he probably trucked his dad in the diaper.
Stiffed arm him.
Stiffed arm.
But just they need to get back. They need to figure out how they can play defense. Cardinals need to figure out how to play offense.
Which is something you never thought you would say for a Bruce Arians team.
I've said this before. I think Bruce Arians is slightly overrated as a coach. I don't think that he's a bad head coach. I think he'd be an amazing college coach. But just overall, I don't think that whoever loses this game is going to be very much in the hole. And with the divisions they're in, it's going to be very hard to get out.
For me, my most significant game of the week, Falcons-Lions. I might be chalking it up here too, but the lone 2-0 matchup of week 3, it's going to be in Detroit, which to me does not feel like a major advantage, but it is a dome for the Falcons. Either way, no matter what this goes, this will be a true litmus test for either team, the legitimacy of how good they are. If they're just going to be better than average, or if they're a true legitimate contender for the NFC crown this year, whether it be for their own division, what have you. I actually do think that this game means a lot for both teams. Expect a lot of offense, because I believe both defenses are just average, masquerading higher than what they are. So we'll see whether the Lions pass rush or the Falcons pass rush can actually get there, whether Matt Stafford or Matty Ice. The battle of the mats, going directly to the mat, taking it to the Matty Ice thermometer, whatever it is.
I will walk out of this podcast room right now.
We're going to see. And the Lions aren't even getting the respect of home field advantage. Atlanta is still -3. I just want to see if the Falcons are really that good. For whatever reason, maybe it's bias of knowing how every year they just disappoint. But I just never put volition towards the Falcons. If they win this week, I'm going to have to start changing that thought. So that's my most significant game of the week, not year.
It's real early for most significant game of the year.
It's a must-win for either 2-0 team. Lock of the week goes to you, Luke.
So there were about 3 games that I thought were lock of the weeks. That could have been lock of the weeks.
And for clarification, we're either going just the straight-up win or against the line, so we'll clarify that as soon as we pick.
Yep.
Luke?
I find it funny all 3 involved AFC West, the whole AFC West division. I am going to go Broncos-Bills. Broncos -3. I'll take the points, or give the points away, I should say. I think that Bills team is not going to really be able to score on the Broncos, and I think that Bills defense is not going to be able to handle Trevor Siemian and that high-powered Broncos
T-Sizzle.
offense.
The new T-Sizzle.
But really, any game involving AFC West, I would take as a lock of the week.
Which leads me to mine. AFC West, I'm going to take the Chiefs. Chiefs,
really?
-3. That home field advantage is non-existent for the Chargers.
All 20 of their fans that show up?
Yeah. For that $100 parking. Young Ho is really the coolest, and he hooked it, I believe it was right, this last game to give the Dolphins a win.
I think both have been. Oh, no, yeah, this last one was right.
The first one was a
left.
tip ball. Yeah, well, it was a tip.
That's right.
Hit the Broncos' hand. The Chiefs, I don't know what the Chargers have shown outside of just beating a middling Dolphins team that had a extra week to prepare for that game, and the Chiefs have just demolished 2 great opponents. I don't put the Chargers on that level of the Philadelphia or New England level, so take the points, but take Kansas City all the way. They're going to run, and hunt you down.
I also think Raiders would have been good for lock of the week. -3 against the Redskins. I don't see how Redskins are going to be able to stop that Oakland offense.
That could be a underrated run game. Marshawn Lynch versus who did you just pick up?
Chris Thompson. And I don't know if
Run DMC.
I don't know if my waiver claim went through yet. I also tried to pick up P. Ryan.
Okay. Good.
Because I love me some Sooner running backs.
Sooner running.
Oh, I got him. Game over.
Game over. And
fun fact, P. Ryan holds the record for most rushing yards in a single NCAA football game.
Oh, is that so?
It is so. Hashtag Boomer Sooner.
And then something now that it's week 3, I want to introduce this now. finally, to close out this heavy football podcast, I want to see who you want to bury. Each week, we're going to put a stamp on them, brand them, and we're going to officially bury teams that have no chance for a playoff berth.
We're doing that this early?
That's what I'm asking. Is there any team that you're willing and able to say, no, they are gone, they are not making the playoffs?
I mean, besides the obvious?
No, I mean, you can say the obvious if you want.
Okay.
Some of those 0-2 teams I would not be willing to do.
No, but I'll bury the Browns right now.
You'll bury the Browns.
I'll bury the. I'm confident enough that I can bury the Browns.
I'll go with you. We can agree on the Browns.
Okay.
Can we agree on the 49ers?
Yes.
Okay, 49ers are done. We're putting our stamp on them. They are not coming back. They will not revisit from the dead.
Bears.
Bears. Yeah, I can bury the Bears. Bears are done. And I think that's about it for me. I can see some weird pseudo life where the Saints come back. Even the Chargers, I'm not willing to bury.
Colts. I'll bury the Colts.
I'm not willing to bury the Colts.
Jets.
I can bury the Jets. Yeah. Jets are done. Jets are gonzo. And then the other one is the Bengals. You ready to bury them yet?
No.
I know. There's just too much talent on that team.
Too much talent. I think maybe with the new offensive coordinator, they might be able to be good.
Giants, the other New York team?
No.
No, not willing to bury them either.
We will not bury a Giants team ever. Ever.
0-7. I still got a shot.
They got a shot. They can win the next 9 in a row, make the wild card, and then beat the Patriots.
What would that be? That'd be 9, 3 games to the playoffs, so it's 12. Go on a 13-game win streak. And to win the Super Bowl.
I'd bet on it.
Oh my God, if you could somehow bet that'd be the biggest run of your life. All right, so officially from now until forever, we have buried this season the Browns, 49ers, Bears, and Jets. Should they come back, we'll have to be punished in some way, but I don't know. We'll come back.
I'm not worried about it.
Okay. We'll do this every week where we bury somebody if we so deem it. If we have an 0-4 team that enters the mix or something. After this, we've got Gimme 5. Are you ready, Luke?
I was born ready.
Because I'm never ready for Gimme 5.
Yeah.
Right after this.
Well aware.
So not only do we have a special guest host of Parmesan the dog, who has actually he's been very meek and mild in this interview. We've got another dog coming in. Gary, the movie dog.
I'm back.
He's back. He's back to also discuss later. I know.
To lose chagrin. Yeah.
He's also back to discuss Mother, which will be in another podcast, but I don't want to talk about it until then. So, just to let everybody know what's going on, this is Gimme 5. Luke, the part of the show where I've got 5 questions for you, you've got 5 questions for me. We don't know what they are, but we will answer them honestly. Luke, are you ready to let Gary decide who goes first?
Yeah.
All right, Gary, go. No
He's
pressure.
got the glasses on, so he gets to choose who goes first.
He's choosing to have you choose.
Oh, wow, that was pointless. Philip, you can go first this time.
Fantastic. Luke and Gary, fanny packs have been trying to make a comeback for a while now, and since we tend to recycle fashion trends, I'm fairly certain that they will succeed eventually. However, I'm not sure the new dad bags are the answer. It's a bag with the photo of a beer belly that hangs around the wearer's waist, and it was created by Albert, I'm going to go out on a limb here, Albert Pukies, a London-based art director whose product aims to celebrate glorious dad bods while also carrying your personal belongings, because no dad bod is the same. However, there's something for everyone. The dad bag comes in a variety of skin tones, belly buttons, and hairiness. And I want to show you guys this picture of it because it just doesn't do it
justice. I saw that on Twitter yesterday. It was fantastic.
I have not seen this yet.
Yes. So there we go. It's a fanny pack right there where it rolls up there. And then these are the full selections of dad bods. We got the triple belly button one. We got
I've seen it.
The Sherman, which is pretty hairy and decently.
I've seen it now.
My question to you boys is, are you going to sport the new dad bag, and will this sell or will it be a flop?
It will be a selling flop.
So kind of like the onesie.
Yes.
I think it'll sell enough to. I mean, it's not going to become super popular, but I'm sure that there will be some people who will buy it just for the novelty.
It will have
a cool Halloween costume.
That's true.
Yeah.
It'll have like a huge peak, and then it's going to go downhill real fast. I will never wear one ever.
Okay.
But fanny packs in general,
No.
those will be going back.
Unfortunately.
All right. Go ahead, Luke.
Okay, so as you may or may not have noticed lately in social media, Kevin Durant on Twitter
yes.
accidentally forgot to switch to his fan account while commenting on his own, commenting on other people's tweets directed towards him.
Right.
And he even admitted, yeah, that was me. I messed up. I was immature. I was being dumb. I have multiple accounts. First of all, that's just dumb. You could easily just admit, no, it was my social media guy. He forgot to switch. But anyways, my question to you. If you were as famous as Kevin Durant, and you are in a position to get criticized as much as Kevin Durant gets criticized, would you have fake accounts that you would use to tweet at people? Or would you just tweet back at them yourself?
The way I tend to be on social media, I just tend to be on the whole old man on the porch of, why even talk about it? I just tend to be on the don't hit send crowd. I can understand the need for a release of fighting back at your quote unquote trolls and haters, of creating a backup account of, Clay Trailborn, who always just seems to have a love for Kevin Durant. I can understand of you being like, you just telling people off anonymously, and because theoretically they're doing the exact same thing, and it's a sort of mental release. I can understand that, but no, I'm more of a, I'll just not even read what other people are saying. If I was that famous, as of right now, I read everything. Tweet at me at Philip Amrine. You'll get a DM back. All right, here we go.
A DM, wow.
Luke, there is a new article out today about Seattle Seahawks running back and former Packer running back Eddie Lacy and his public struggle concerning his weight issues. More so than that, he discusses how he combats the public scrutinizing his battle with his weight. Quote, I could pull up my Twitter right now and there would be a fat comment in there somewhere, he says. Like I could tweet, today is a beautiful day. And someone would be like, oh yeah, you fat.
It's funny because it's true.
I sit there and wonder, what do you get out of that? Luke, how do you feel about your weight? And when you want to lose weight, what is the best way you go about it?
Wow. Is this how it's going to be?
This is the hard
I'll tell you what, I actually have an even worse question about Phil's body in my Give Me 5.
Okay, good. I am well aware that I am fat.
I never said anything.
You heavily implied it.
No matter who you are, has points in their life where they need to lose weight. Kim Kardashian, she's multiple times had to come out about her weight. I'm not inferring anything.
No, you're not inferring. You're implying. I'm inferring that you're implying that I'm fat.
Oh my goodness. All right. Anyway.
But anyways, yes, I am fat. And what do I do when I need to lose weight? I'll tell you when I figure it out.
Oh, there we go. That's a funny answer there. All right.
I'm going to help to work at a pizza place.
But
only until Sunday.
I really just had to incorporate that quote because it was hilarious. It's a beautiful day. Oh yeah, you fat. At Eddie Lacy. All right. Best of luck, Eddie Lacy. Keep on not running against the Packers for 2 points and make me drop you in your fantasy league because you fat. Go ahead, Luke.
It's rude. So, as we have mentioned before in our previous podcast, me and Philip are in a fantasy league together.
Yes.
And so we're going to take this time, and I'm going to use this question to my Give Me 5. And we're going to... First of all, I just want to ask. Here'll be the Give Me 5 question.
Okay.
How does it feel to be the only person 0-2 in our division? 0-2, Philip.
Yeah.
That means you haven't won.
Yeah.
You've lost to the girl who picked Carson Palmer with the first-round draft pick she had.
I realize this.
Philip, you're bad. You're trash at fantasy football. How's it feel?
How does it feel?
You're going to just personally attack people
I'm
on today's
reclaiming my
Give Me 5.
time. I'm reclaiming my time. Thank you. Yes. Okay, that first matchup really was out of my hands. I just had a garbage team that first week.
Just bad.
from week 1 to week 2, we had a transition. We had no guaranteed contracts. We shipped out a lot of our bad contracts.
I made terrible drafting decisions.
We had a lot of plans for the future, but seeing as how we're in a win now mode, we have to forget the future and just go with what we have as far as our draft capital now. Week 2, what really happened was that there was a miscommunication on the depth chart. We had a couple wide receivers on for number 1 who should have been wide receivers bench. So, God bless you, Parmesan. Thank you. So, this week I feel fairly confident going up against New England. The only difference that I'm actually, now that I'm looking at our league, at our matchup, because we enter this week, is I really am going to have to change out of Houston because that is that's probably my number 1 spillover
just so the audience is aware, this is the week that me and Philip are going head-to-head.
Yes.
And in honor of this being the week that we're going head-to-head, we're doing a lunch bet. We're doing a, not even lunch necessarily, but we are doing a food bet. Next week's episode will be live on location of wherever the other chooses to go.
Now,
wherever the winner chooses to go.
Right. Now my only question, what am I doing? The only question is, can I bring Ruby or no? Because when you're paying for it, I don't want to be a whole burden on you.
Well, I'm not paying for it, so when you pay for it, if you want to pay for Ruby as well, you can.
Okay, so Ruby will be there too, just so everybody can look forward to the... because she's also in a fantasy league. We're in a separate fantasy league. So she will have fantastic... Even no matter how I say that, that's still fantasy. But anyways... Okay, so we'll be there live at whatever steakhouse I choose. And, okay, so now we're going to go to the matchup. Just go.
Looking at this matchup right now.
All right.
Philip doesn't have a starting defense, so I'm off to a good start there.
You need to refresh. You need to refresh, son.
I love it when I go up against someone who doesn't even start.
Okay, so line by line, we're going to start out. Who has the advantage? Matthew Stafford facing Atlanta.
We also have an unbiased judge in Gary Boucher.
Yes, we do. Gary.
It's like 75% of the amount of football that you guys do.
Right. Sorry. So he's at about 1/4 of it. All right. So we got Matthew Stafford facing Atlanta. Tom Brady at Houston.
Yeah. No.
Against
Houston.
I
think.
All right.
Yeah, it's against Houston.
Okay, I'm gonna say Tom Brady against Houston.
All right.
Yeah,
good unbiased opinion there. All right. Next one. We're going Dalvin Cook. Do you even know who that is? Could you name?
Is he a skill player? Defense?
No.
All right. Dalvin Cook.
Gary is no longer allowed to help out with this.
All right. Dalvin Cook versus Tampa Bay. Carlos Hyde versus the Rams. I'm going to say Dalvin Cook.
Maybe.
Quarterback does he play for?
He's a running back for the Minnesota
Vikings.
Yes.
Adrian Peterson's with the Saints.
Yes.
That I just found out.
There we go.
Yeah.
New development. Breaking news.
I think it depends on what Rams show up and whether or not, if Hyde can go off for another 125-yard day, I like my chances.
None of these. I feel it's going to be a close game no matter what. It's just saying who has the better, just who's going to win right off. I'm going to say Dalvin Cook is more of a certainty. I'll put it that way. Javorius Allen, or Buck Allen as they like to call him, versus Chris Thompson. Javorius Allen at Jacksonville. I'm going to go with your side. I'm going to go Chris Thompson. Oakland has no defense.
I am also going to go with my side. They have a defense, just not ideal at stopping the run.
Right. AJ Green at Green Bay. Julio Jones at Detroit.
Julio. You got to go on my side on this one.
My lone problem is that Green Bay doesn't stir any confidence. I'm going to actually go...
Oh, and Andy Dalton has been giving you a lot of confidence the first two weeks of the year? Yeah. Check yourself.
What has Julio Jones been doing in the past 2 weeks?
He's been doing pretty good.
But what's his average? 11?
I think it might be... Oh, that's not Julio Jones. He had 16 last week.
Okay.
And I think he had 10.6 and 15.8.
You know what? Actually, I'm going to be anticlimactic, and I'm going to go wash.
It's Julio.
Okay. Whatever. Let's go. Amari Cooper, Jarvis Landry. That's. I'm going to go with you. Just the Jets. That's
Especially, just so everyone knows, we are a PPR league.
Yeah.
And Landry's been racking up those catches.
Oh, yeah.
He's racking up those catches. Eating.
All right. Travis Kelce.
Says the guy who's 0-2.
Hunter Henry.
Kelsey.
Okay.
Kelsey
I
won.
wanted to make sure that there was no hot take there.
No hot take there.
All right. And then finally for our skill positions, Alshon Jeffrey and Perrine.
P. Ryan.
Huh?
Get it right. Boomer Sooner. OU.
Is there any way that you're going to go out on this limb and die by not saying Alshon Jeffrey?
Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
Delusional. What has Alshon been doing?
Delusional. He had a monster week last week.
Did he?
Against Kansas City.
Yeah, and then the week before that, he had less than 10 points.
Yeah, and they were facing a good team. All right.
They're facing Washington.
Defenses.
They're Washington.
I will say this.
The Giants have a good defense.
Giants have it, but Janoris Jenkins is out, which is good for a wide receiver.
Whatever helps you sleep at night, fam.
I do not believe in Eli Apple, so I will say this: in our particular league, turnovers and defensive teams they account for more. So that's why I'm going to kind of go for Philadelphia more than Denver, because Denver's going to have it done, but I don't know if they'll necessarily have a turnover machine from the Bills.
I'm gonna go Denver.
You're gonna go. That's not a bad pick.
Yeah. You know what? I'll say this is a wash.
Okay.
Because I think Philly has more chance for turnovers. Denver will get the guaranteed points.
I think it might be a 3 total points for Buffalo. And then we're gonna go with Dan Bailey and Justin Tucker. Man, you actually did draft pretty dang well.
Yeah, I know, because I'm good at what I do. That's why I'm not 0-2. Yeah, fool.
You know what? I'll go Justin Tucker just because of the defense. Baltimore is offensively inept, and with them having to settle for field goals, I'm going to go with Justin Tucker. Dan Bailey, though, is not too far behind.
He's not bad kicker, just not Justin Tucker.
Not Justin Tucker, which you stole from me, but you reached for him.
Yeah, because I could steal him.
I will say, mistake putting Aaron Rodgers on my bench.
And we talked about this a little bit throughout the week. Rodgers, I think will get you more points on average on a week-to-week basis. Stafford always has that potential to throw for 8 touchdowns, 7,000 yards, and 22 picks.
Yep. All right. Back to me. And finally your pick. Are you sticking with yourself?
Yeah, I'm a crush you.
Yeah, all right. I'm gonna win. All
Overrated.
right. Good luck. Luke, back to me. I always seem to be ready for Gimme 5 for Gary, but when it comes to our podcast, I never seem to have time before our meetup to write my questions until the final second.
Yeah, I am well aware.
Yes. What is something you always seem to forget until it's too late?
Homework. I'm a college student. I forget homework all the time.
And a journalism student at that.
Yeah, I love those deadlines. Especially for anybody who is part of the journalism school and they know the deadline policy for journalism.
Oh my gosh, it's the most ridiculous. Oh my god.
Every policy they have about class is ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay, back to you.
I also have a question that will relate to school.
Okay.
You have graduated.
Yes, I have.
I graduate in May, fingers crossed, knock on wood.
Knock on. This is plastic.
And knock on wood.
There we go.
But as always, there's always that. And Gary can actually get in on this question too. I guess he's technically in college.
Technically, I'm like 3/4 of a college student.
But there's always that one class, it seems, sometimes even more, every semester that you just absolutely, positively cannot stand for whatever reason. What class was that for you when you were in college? What was the most hated class you had?
You know what? Let's go even to high school. It's just been all that way. Spanish, bar none.
Oh my god.
Bar friggin' none.
Good answer.
Oh,
good answer.
At least everything else I had somewhat of an interest in, where I can use this for later on in life. Let's be honest with each other. I think Spanish is best used if you elect to do it. When you're forced to do it, there is no interest. There is no genuine learning of Spanish. It's just being forced to say si habla, hombre, hablas, hablar, hablago. I don't blogging care. I just want to get a freaking passing grade in this and continue on, and now I'm being judged for my entire college career because I don't know the correct prefix, suffix,
Conjugation.
conjugado. Forget it.
At the risk of my parents listening to this and getting upset with me, I'm taking Spanish because as we know, Cronkite requires 2 years of foreign language to graduate,
Yes,
and most people just take Spanish as an easy cop out.
Yeah.
Last semester I took 102, which everyone says is the hardest semester of the Spanish. I legitimately failed every single test.
Yeah.
Passed the class, failed every single test.
I can imagine why. I'm not gonna put anything on there, but I have my reasons as to why that might have happened. All right.
You trying to square up right now?
I'm just saying I think everybody gets through Spanish the same way, and it's
Hashtag Google Translate.
All right.
It's even better when you're an online student.
Oh yes.
I might take Spanish. I might take my last semester of Spanish
I passed my
online.
foreign language with flying colors. And,
How do you say
it was because of Google Translate on my test, but I'm not gonna not say.
I was gonna say how do you say flying colors in Spanish?
I took French.
Oh, how do you say flying colors in French?
I don't even know how to say that in Spanish.
Le couleur.
I'm pretty sure you just said the color flying. No, not even flying. I think you said plane.
Yeah, the
That's actually
airplane
pretty.
color. That's all.
Oh, the airplane. That's pretty close.
Le couleur de avion.
All right, Luke. I saw Mother last night, and it was god awful. So simply said, what is your top 3 list of the worst movies you've ever seen?
Okay, I'm glad Gary is here for this.
Yeah, I am
because
too.
one of them I don't remember what the name is.
Okay.
But you know what movie it is.
Describe it.
It's the Korean action film that made no sense whatsoever.
Old Boy?
No, the Korean one we watched. It was like on a train in Frozen. Snowpiercer.
Snowpiercer, yeah.
Yeah, Snowpiercer.
You didn't like that one?
Yeah, that movie was trash.
Wait, did you see him in the Korean one?
No,
You saw the Chris Evans one?
At my house on Netflix, and he really hated it.
Yeah,
I hated the Chris Evans one.
Yeah, it was trash. Straight up trash. It made no sense whatsoever. Spoiler alert, there were just random kids that's not how machinery works. You can't just put kids in a train and just have it work. I don't care if it's a metaphor or not. Okay, that's not how it works. Oh, we're missing this piece. Let's take this kid's heart and put it in. Or whatever it was. It was just weird. It was weird. I didn't like it. It was a terrible film.
Okay, rounding out the top 3.
Can I say Snowpiercer 3 times?
Sequel.
I have seen a lot of
Heat Piercer.
Heat Piercer, Lava Piercer, Permafrost. Let's see, 2 other films that I absolutely
Come on,
positively
this is
hate.
easy.
Here's another hot take for you. James Bond.
Which one?
I'm trying to remember. I think
There was one like Die Another Day. That was
no, one of the Daniel Craig ones.
Quantum of Solace?
No, I don't think
Spectre?
I never saw Spectre.
Which was the
I think
one where they're in like
Skyfall. Skyfall.
Skyfall?
I did not like Skyfall.
Oh, man.
I did not enjoy it at all.
This is why we have him on the sports cast, not the.
The 100% why. And then a third one that I hate. Oh, let's see. Just I
Have you seen Snowpiercer?
the Snowpiercer times 2 of the Korean version. I think for my third one,
I hated it more because it was in Korea.
I think I'm gonna go with let's say, what should I go with, Gary?
Something that you would, have you seen like The King's Speech or something?
No.
I feel like you would The King's
Oh, okay.
Speech.
The Revenant.
Actually,
Yeah. I went to see that with you too.
Yeah, we saw that, and it was literally a waste of 3.5 hours of my life.
3.5.
It felt like 7.
It's the longest movie of all time.
Like, yeah, I get it. Ooh, visually stunning. He shot for 20 minutes a day for 7 years to get the right light or whatever it was.
Okay.
But I didn't care. Leo had 7 lines, 6 of which were him screaming from pain after getting killed by a bear. After he should have died from a bear. And I also just want to let people know that's not based off of a true story. It's not. It is based off a possibly somewhat true folk tale.
That took a lot of narrative leeway with.
They didn't have a narrative, Gary. Here's Leo getting killed by a bear. Here's Leo slowly healing for 20,000 hours.
And yelling.
And here's Leo finally killing a guy. That was it. There was a terrible narrative.
Well, I've never seen the movie, but now I know. All right, go ahead, Luke.
Where? Oh, okay. So
Where?
I was trying to find my fourth question. So as the audience may or may not have heard throughout this podcast, I've been eating popcorn from this bucket from AMC, and we discussed a little bit, especially when Gary got here, how good AMC is. Dollar Dogs at this AMC in downtown. This bucket for only $4.25 per refill, etc., etc. I have personally been on the AMC bandwagon for quite a while. I don't mind paying the extra $2 for a ticket when normally the concessions are actually the same price, if not cheaper. And it's just better quality theaters. It seems like better quality people in the theaters, in my opinion. So I've always preferred AMC. You know, you can do the reserved seating and whatnot. So I've always been an AMC fan. But it begs the question, Philip and Gary, do you prefer AMC or Harkins?
I'll take the head on this. I love Harkins, just simply because it's local.
Scrub.
I know. It's local. I can. I enjoyed the aspect of loyalty, that they had loyalty cups and then loyalty t-shirts. I like their popcorn better. It doesn't taste as metallic. And they're, on average, their seats feel better to me.
Have you not been in the recliners?
Better to you than the AMC, like, Lazy Boy seats?
You're on
wrong.
average. Whenever those AMC, like, regular chairs are around.
AMC doesn't have those anymore.
Yes, the downtown one does.
Oh, okay.
So
Every other AMC I've been to doesn't. So maybe you should just go to a different AMC.
Gary?
It's hard. So I was an AMC person. I still am. Like I have a Stubbs card, so I get like the discounts. There are a lot of perks. They do like the Oscar thing every year where they show all the Best Picture nominees. Harkins, on the other hand, the tickets, especially their student discount, is cheaper.
AMC has a student discount.
But like with the Harkins, it'll be like $7.50. AMC it'll be like $9. So
$1.50.
I live literally right next to one of each. If I'm trying to see something, like if I'm trying to premiere something and I'm making it a big deal, like a Marvel movie or a Star Wars movie, I always do AMC because you can buy the tickets ahead of time. It's easy, and I like being there. It's comfortable. Harkins I do when it's like 11 a.m. and I'm just like, what's playing for, the $6 movies on Tuesday nights? Let's see. I don't know. But 80% AMC for sure.
All right. Back to me for my final one. Luke. Okay, this is going to end on a football note. Are you ready, Luke?
Yeah.
There are a couple 2-0 teams: the Chiefs, Steelers, Panthers, Ravens, Raiders, Broncos, Falcons, and Lions. Of course, the Falcons and Lions are facing off against each other. Who would you be willing to bet the right mansion on to win out? We kind of did this last week, but I want to make sure.
To go 16-0?
Go 16-0, and I've got a second part of this question after you answer.
So give me the teams one more time.
Chiefs,
Okay.
Steelers, Panthers, Ravens, Raiders, Broncos, Falcons, Lions.
So without looking at their actual schedules right in front of me, I'm going to say Broncos. Because I have a reason. Because I think, and again, because I don't remember the schedule, I think they actually wait the longest before they meet the Chiefs or Raiders.
I'll look it up for you.
Okay, because that is what I'm 100% basing this off of. It's whatever AFC West team can go the longest without facing another AFC West team.
That's fair. That division is, even the Chargers are just being a tough out, everybody. They played the Raiders in week 4.
Oh, okay. Then maybe Chiefs.
And they have back-to-back division games at Chargers, at Chiefs, after the Giants.
Then I might have to go with Chiefs. For some reason, I thought they didn't face until at least week 5 or 6.
So then you're going to go with Chiefs?
Yeah, depending.
Crapshoot list.
Trader?
Yeah.
You trader? Okay. And then second part to this question. which 0-2 team, if I forced you to pick a team out of this bunch, Giants, 49ers, Chargers, Jets, Browns, Bears, Saints, Colts, and Bengals. Again, I can give you that list again. Which team would make the playoffs for you? You have to pick one to make the playoffs.
I'm just going to make this easier and pull up the standings right here, because if you just read that list off to me again, I will completely forget. Right. So, I mean, obviously some of those you can easily just cross right off the list.
Browns. Well, let's get the list that we've eliminated here. Browns, 49ers, Bears, and Jets.
Yeah, so you can list those. If I had to pick one, I'd say Giants, 100%.
Yeah, I kind of got. For me, I would like the Saints, but they're in a really tough division, so the Giants makes more sense.
I don't believe in the Saints either.
I could even see the Bengals, honestly, because that division is really nitty gritty.
Yeah, they could scrounge out.
The Bengals, I don't think, are this bad.
No, they're not. I'd definitely go Giants. Last time they were 0-2, they won the Super Bowl.
Fun fact. All right. Eli.
Hashtag winning. Oh, that's just rude. My last question.
Yes.
Is we've been snacking on popcorn. I had some crackers earlier. Some of those Austin cheese crackers with the peanut butter. Literally, in my opinion, greatest snack ever.
I like the white cheddar.
Of all time. I'm not a fan of white cheddar. I also don't like judging things based off of color. So I don't know why you had to bring it there, but whatever. So my question to you guys.
Okay.
In your opinion, granted, if you don't agree with me, you are 100% wrong.
Right.
But in your opinion, what is the best snack of all time?
You want to take the lead, or do you go?
Yeah, off the top of my head, cheddar Chex Mix is my absolute favorite with little cheese triangles. I can eat that by like the jumbo party bag. I bring it back to the movies every time I go because Fry's sells the Kroger brand of it, which is like $3 for like a pound of it. So it's great.
And I'm gonna go with Cheez-Its.
You're both wrong. Although Phil is less wrong.
It is Austin's cheese crackers?
It is 100% the Austin orange cheese crackers with the peanut butter. No, you guys are wrong.
It's completely subjective, but we're wrong.
Yeah, it's objective. I'm 100% right here.
All right, well, we actually didn't do too bad on that. We got a couple of interesting outcomes. Next week, there will be a lot more clarity on these done teams. We might add some more to the list. If the Giants go 0-3, then are you done with them? No?
I pencil them in for a Super Bowl victory right then and there. Right then.
That's kind of like the Kansas City, the Patriots. Last time they lost in the season opener, they won the Super Bowl, so...
Yeah, I've already penciled in Patriots, Giants. Giants win after being down 28-3 at some point. Internet literally explodes. Twitter goes offline because it can't handle the traffic.
Notice how I said pencil and not pen.
I'll use a Sharpie marker. I'll tattoo it on my body.
I was going to say, tattoo it on you, man. Then it's real.
Tell me it's real. All right. Thank you so much for listening to Chopped Greens. As always, listen to us on YouTube for all of our newest and our archived episodes. For
Luke Wright
and Gary Basher
and Parmesan. And this is Philip. Thank you so much for listening. And as always...